So here's actually something that I missed from the Joe Biden Zoom press conference, his address on the COVID stuff. And so this was a complete disaster. He showed his dementia, he showed his Alzheimer's, and just general, sort of neurological decline. He also wandered off the screen. If you haven't checked that out, go check out the video. I have it up 2 days ago, sorry. Go check that out. But he made a claim here. Let's hear this one out.
One of the things that I did early on in my career as a U.S. Senator was I was one of the sponsors of the Endangered Species Act. And one of the other things we've done is we, in the state of Delaware, for example, set up the I was one of the sponsors of the Endangered Species Act.
So he says, I was one of the sponsors of the Endangered Species Act. Now, this was first pointed out by Ryan Grimm of The Intercept, a very good reporter from The Intercept. And he just shows the screenshots here that show that he was not a sponsor of the act. He was not a sponsor. The sponsor from his state, from Delaware, was actually Senator Williams and Harrison. So this was not something that was sponsored by Joe Biden. This was not sponsored by Joe Biden. He actually lied. As you can see, he's not on here. He's not on this list. So it's because he didn't actually sponsor it. So that's what you got to understand, folks. Joe Biden did not sponsor this bill. He just lied. Now, again, the question becomes, is he lying, or is he just so demented and his mental state has declined so much that he's forgetting? Now, the thing is even before this, right, back around the time of his aneurysm that he had, or I don't know if it was a double or single aneurysm, but even back then he was a big liar. Now, before 1996, before the Telecommunications Act was passed under Bill Clinton, which basically demolished media and made it all corporate owned, back then they would actually do fact checking of some sort. So if you go back and look, there's actually multiple news outlets that had done these investigative reports on Joe Biden. There's one that I've seen where he lied about multiple things about his class. He said, oh yeah, I graduated in the top third of my class or something like that in law school. Turns out he was in the bottom third. He just did a bunch of lies like that. And so it's just lie. Literally in the span of 20 seconds, he spewed out 3 lies. And so I think it's a mix of both. As you guys know, he recently lied about getting arrested to see Nelson Mandela. And he said it multiple times. Now, the mainstream media didn't cover it, obviously, because the mainstream media is owned by corporations. And so they're in bed with him. And so they're obviously going to say, no, you can't do this. Same way that MSNBC did that with Bernie Sanders, and same thing with CNN in 2016. Ed Schultz got, fired because of it. So this is what's going on here, dude. He just keeps lying, and the problem is we don't have a mainstream media that actually even cares. And where do most people get their news and information from? The mainstream media. And so, unfortunately, we find ourselves in a very unfortunate position where people are basically misinformed and ill-educated because the mainstream media, did you hear about this? No, this is probably the first time you're hearing about this. I'd really be shocked if you heard about this before watching this video, because this got no coverage. Nobody's going to pay attention to this because obviously Joe Biden is the corporate candidate. He's the one coronated by all the corporate entities in America, all the powerful. So it's even better for them that he has dementia, actually, if he manages to get into office, because if you got someone with dementia, you can kind of control them, so they probably like that. They're like, oh, this is a match made in heaven. We can literally have him as our puppet. We can literally just move him around like a little puppet to do what we want, which is unfortunate. But another lie yet again tacked on for Joe Biden, man.